Okay, it's just like a little update of things that I'm doing. Starting on I think Wednesday, I'm gonna be starting teaching classes with the Circle of the Silver Veil, which is my friend's coven. My first class I'm teaching is making spell stones. I usually only teach very basic classes because I don't feel like I could really teach somebody anything more than that if it's not like a one-on-one basis or thing. I'm not the type of person. Okay, here's a background for it. I don't like teaching because I don't feel like the majority of the students listen. I feel like they go there and they either take the information, take your experiences, and regurgitate it to other people and never practice it, or they don't really take in anything that you're saying. They're just kind of like, show me how to make this, I'm gonna go make it. Like when I've taught oils and stuff before. And not all the students are like that. Some students are like, oh God, I really got a lot from that, or I really had a good experience with that, blah, 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 blah. But still, I don't do more than basic classes. I've taught oil making, incense making, I'm doing a poppet making series with my friend Lorraine. I'm teaching how to make Scandinavian yarn poppets, felt bosom buddies, which is the little things I used to sell on Etsy, but they took way too long to make. So it was hard for me to like keep, like as soon as I put one up, they'd sell. So I'm like, oh God, I can't make those fast enough. So just turning into this anyway. And then I'm making clay poppets, and then she's doing crochet little poppets that we're gonna be stuffing. And I'm also teaching her personal students that she has for her like initiation degree classes, like her first years and her second years. I'm teaching a metal magics class because we're talking about. I was talking to her about Viking knit, and if you've watched my other videos or know about my stories, you've seen my Viking knit that my friend Dana taught me. And like the healing properties of the copper that I'm using. And so she's like, oh, well, I'd like for you to come and teach about like metals and crystals. And I'm like, I don't use crystals. I only know a few tricks for like opening them. Really, they're not really my thing. I'm like, but I do know about metals and basic things about metals and some history about different metals used in magic and whatnot. So I'd be happy to teach about that. And then I went to go to bed last night and I was laying in bed. I was like, God, this class is gonna be so short. Like, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Brass, metal, or copper, silver, and gold? And I was like, what about brass? Could you use tinfoil in magic? Blah, 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 blah. You could use this and this and this. And what about weapons and spiritual tools and jewelry and using it on different things? And I'm like, oh my God, there's so much that I can talk about. So I was hoping to record that class, but the flip cam that we have doesn't work anymore. So I might do video afterwards when I get all my notes put together and everything, and do like a series on here talking about different things. But yeah, so you won't normally find me teaching classes. I don't like teaching groups of people because I don't really feel like, unless I know them. Like with her group, I like teaching for her group because I know most people in there and I've known them for a while, so it's easier for me to connect with them, and I know some of their personalities and different things, so it's easier to know how to teach them and whatnot. Whereas I wouldn't be the type of person that's like starts teaching classes randomly and like, pay me to teach these classes. I don't even really like taking money for these classes I'm teaching. I mean, we're paying like $5 a class, but it's all hands-on stuff. And I'm teaching for free for her metal class because she's my pagan mom's. But I wouldn't probably ever teach for anybody else, at least not anytime soon. I don't know, I feel like you can't really teach on a subject unless you've mastered it or something. Does that make sense? Like, there's so many questions people can ask you, and you can't just pull stuff out of your butt. And like, I've taken classes where people, instead of saying, I don't know, I'm sorry, and like being honest, I'm like, okay, cool, I'll look it up later. They'll make something up, and then you go look it up later, and you're like, where the hell did they get this from? Um, but So that's really why I don't like to teach. But I would take on like, if like I was working with somebody else, it'd be easier. Like, hey, what are you interested in? Oh, cool, I'll tell you about this and this and this, and then we can have discussions one-on-one. So much more my style or whatever. I know I make videos on here, like short little videos like this. I use mint and stuff, but that's like stuff that you can, that you're. I don't know, it's not really like a personal thing. Like, it's more like, hey, here's a little bit of information. Now I want you to go off and learn more about yourself, or more about this product or this herb or something. I'm like just starting you off on like, here's an idea, not like, here's all my experiences and all this and this and this. And then people feel like they've learned all this stuff and experienced all these things when they haven't. They just taken somebody else's experiences as their own. I don't know, it kind of bothers me. I don't really know how to explain myself. I'm not really good at translating my thoughts all the way, usually. I think in pictures and feel things rather than think in words, in a sense. Does that make sense? But anyway, if you live in San Diego, I'm going to be teaching these classes. They're going to be in Santee, Poppet making series and making spellstones. I usually try to record my classes just to share on here, but I can't anymore. So you guys contact me though, and I'll recommend books or talk to you about certain things and stuff if I can. Try not to contact me on YouTube. I never get the messages. I don't know. You can always try and contact me on Facebook. I don't add people to my personal page. But you can contact me at Karina Young. I live in La Mesa, so you can find me that way. Or through any of my other personal or persona profiles like Katla Haza or Mina Kaiser. So, yeah. Or even on my Wellens Bindle page, The Wellens Bindle. And that's it. Just a little video talking about certain things coming up and a few feelings I have, I guess. I don't really know what else to say. I'm going to go apply a couple places today, so I should have dressed up a little bit more, but it's cold and they're not really like high class places. I'm like, I think one of them's Dollar Tree. It's funny because I like feel like I'm more on a spiritual path than anything else. So these places, working at these places don't really bother me. But I'm kind of like, I wish I could live off doing my spirituality. If that makes sense. But I think most people feel like that way too in the pagan community. So it's not just me. I just want this job so I can go back to school, really, so I can start paying off things. And that's my life update for today. Thank you for watching.